Joining me now, Michael Solan, president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild. Michael, thank you for being with me. When you hear the president say that he's willing to take charge, take care of what's happening in Seattle, what's your reaction?
Hi, Harris. Thank you for having me. This is such an important societal topic that sadly what's happened in Seattle is that conversation has been stolen by unreasonable activists in the city of Seattle. Now they control 6 square blocks. They control the precinct. And that is a direct result of our city elected officials lacking the political willpower to enforce the rule of law, much like your topic of your show, Law and Order. Great interview, by the way. Thank you. And this is the closest I've ever seen our country, let alone the city here, to becoming a lawless state when public safety issues are deeply, deeply concerning. And as a Seattle resident, it's very profound. And if unreasonable activists have taken over an East Precinct, voluntarily given up by elected officials' decisions, what's to stop them from taking another precinct? And as I said last night, West Precinct, where 300 protesters marched on it 2 nights ago, where officers were ordered back inside, outside the perimeter. If we lose that flagship precinct, that houses the 911 communications center. Therefore, if that becomes disabled, how do we provide public safety services to the entire city? This is how serious this conversation is, but we are more than willing as a membership to have these tough conversations about race. In fact, we came up with our own concept called the Emerald Protection Plan, engaging in these disadvantaged communities, where in 6 Fridays, our own people, our police officers, partnering with the community, have raised over 4 tons of food to donate to those most in need in our city. Very, very troubling issue going on right now in Seattle.
All right, so just again, I'm going to give another stab at it. When you hear the president say that he's going to help you take care of what's going on there and take charge of the situation, you're talking about losing your 911 center, another precinct potentially, anything can happen. What's your reaction to him offering or saying that he's going to jump in?
Well, we need leadership from somebody, because it's not occurring in the city right now. We've lost the ability as a police force with Department of Justice policies regarding crowd control. There's a portion of our Seattle City Council, the unreasonable activist crowd, very small group, that are trying to wrestle control at City Hall. They have removed our ability to have less lethal tools to properly defend the police facilities. It's also putting my membership at grave risk for injury. We've had dozens injured. So I don't know another way, if we get a run on a precinct, how we can protect that critical police facility in the city without the adequate, less lethal tools to keep a crowd back. So somebody needs to.
Michael, I'm going to step in real quick, because I want people to see. You called it the unreasonable activist crowd. Take a look at these demands. And Michael, we're just going to put 4 of the 30 demands that we know about from the protesters. Abolish Seattle PD and the court system. They want to get rid of the courts. Abolish imprisonment. Free college for the people of Washington State. De-gentrification of Seattle, starting with rent control. Real quick, your reaction to what they're demanding. And again, that's 4 of 30.
Fantastic example of unreasonable activism, and the overall Seattle community, the reasonable people, fully support reasonable activism, not this unreasonable activism that sadly has taken our city hostage, and they own a precinct right now. That is a great example of what's going on here, and our political officials aren't leading right now. And we need rule of law here, and as a Seattle resident, I'm so embarrassed, and as a proud professional public safety officer, we are more than willing to be brought to the table as a stakeholder, but we have yet to be invited, and our open letter to the mayor has yet to have been publicly acknowledged. We need some serious help in Seattle.
Michael Solan, I can tell you from talking with the President of the United States that he is watching this very closely. You heard him himself. He will get in there if he has to. Keep us posted here on Outnumbered Overtime on what happens next. And I'm sorry about the injuries to your officers. Thank you for joining me.